Hello everyone, this is Shashank Tyagi from Edukemy. Welcome you all to this session. I hope this message finds you fit and fine. Today we are going to discuss why political science optional is among the top choice of many successful aspirants and why many other successful aspirants came into the sharan of political science optional in second or third attempts. One question generally is asked on international relations. For example, you all know that as we about to have interviews, right? So don't you think UPSC is going to ask questions on Galwan? UPSC is going to ask questions on happenings which are there in Nepal, Bangladesh, and especially in Myanmar. So UPSC expects that since you are going to be part of the steel frame of India, you should be aware of these things. And when I'm saying aware, UPSC don't want some generic points. UPSC wants sharp opinions. And how you gain sharp opinions? From analysis. Sharp opinions from analysis. And political science optional is opening that Pandora box of analysis. Right? When it comes to essay, one question is going to be asked. It's always asked, either from IR part or from political science. When I say political science, questions are asked where some ideas of many thinkers can be directly linked. So these kind of advantage you have when you join political science optional, when you choose political science option. Okay. The point is choosing political science option. So when it comes to syllabus, paper 1, section A can be divided into 4 broad portions. One is political theory, political ideologies, Indian political thought, Western political thought. Okay. Many students have this misconception that they open the syllabus and they count the number of topics. Okay. And then they, relate to other optionals which may be having less number of topics. So देखिए मेरा ये मानना है कि your choice for option should not be based on the number of topics, because you have not understood the option. It may be possible that other optionals are also same for you. Okay, so you should give yourself some time in which you can have some understanding about this option. Okay, what are optional you choose, but you should have some understanding before you make your final call. Okay, now what my point is that in political science option, many topics within the syllabus overlap with each other. One overlapping is with GS and one overlapping, or we can say interlinking, is within the syllabus. For example, when you cover J.S. Mill, okay, John Stuart Mill, then in J.S. Mill, since J.S. Mill, has contributed a lot in the idea of liberalism. So when we are going to cover liberalism, don't you think, since you have covered J.S. Mill, you have already, built your foundation about liberalism, right? When you read about Marx, don't you think now when you are going to cover Marxism in ideology, it is interlinked? Yes, it is interlinked, right? Similarly, when we cover Gramsci, so when you have covered Gramsci, it means it has already built your base when you talk about concept of power, legitimacy, hegemony, right? So topics are interlinked to each other. Okay, when you have covered B.R. Ambedkar, so you have already built your base for the topic paper 1 section B, Dalit perspective on nationalism, right? So these topics are intertwined in each other. Okay, so we should not count these topics. Actually, from understanding point of view, these topics are less, right? Similarly, when we talk about paper 1 section B, So it can be divided into three parts. There are some topics which are based on nationalism and constitution. Then there are some core polity topics, and there are some ancillary topics. What are these? For example, when we talk about nationalism and constitution, we have this heading: political strategies of India's freedom struggle. Constitutionalism to mass satyagraha, non cooperation, civil disobedience, military and revolutionary movements, peace and workers' movements. Then we have perspective of an Indian national movement. So just look at it here. Liberal. So when you are having liberal perspective on national movement, don't you think, since you have already covered liberalism, you have already covered various thinkers and their ideas on liberalism, so now it would be a cakewalk to cover these topics because your foundation is already built, right? So this is how topics are interlinked. So as I shared, that once you have entered into the story of that concept, then this story is not going to come out, you are not going to forget that story, because now you are part of that story. And why you are part of that story? Because now you are able to relate with whatever happening around with these ideologies, right? And in this discussion, I am giving you an idea how political science optional can be an advantageous choice. Okay. In upcoming videos, I'm going to, go deep into analysis of these topics in this syllabus. Okay. So I would suggest that you should be tuned to attend this discussion. Similarly, these topics. Now, core polity topics. So within paper 1 section B, we have core polity topics. For example, salient features of Indian constitution. Tell me, this is part of your polity and prelims as well in GS paper 2 or not? Yes, it is. Principles, organs of union government and state government. This is part of your topics in prelims as well as GS paper 2. Grassroots democracy. This is also part of your prelims as well as your GS paper 2. Although when I say prelims, and prelims questions are, provision based, but when we talk about grassroots democracy in political science, we talk about different ideas, we talk about different scholars, what they said on grassroots democracy. Okay. um, I told you that political science option is going to open your analytical part, right, about these current affairs. Here you will get this idea why, even after having 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, why Panchayati Raj institutions are not successful as per the expectation in India. So you are going to get many good points here. It would be like a opening for you. There's state statutory institutions and commissions, election commission, UPSC, CAG. These are all part of your core polity, right? Federalism. These are your core polity. Then ancillary topics, planning and economic development. I told you GS paper 3, liberalization and land reforms. So we cover these aspects here. Caste, religion, ethnicity in Indian politics. This is going to help you where in essay also, and in those answers where you talk about why even after having so many social development measures, these there are certain bottlenecks, and what are these bottlenecks? Some of these bottlenecks you are going to find here. Then party system, grassroots and social movement. Now coming to paper 2 section A, we can broadly divide into three parts: comparative politics, theories and concepts of international relations, and then global institutions and groups. When I say comparative politics, the word itself is saying comparative, means comparison of different politics. When I say different politics, we talk about, we compare. We compare different political institutions. For example, if you want to check whether India is more successful polity or Sweden is more successful polity, so can you compare India and Sweden just on the basis of economies they have? No. Can you compare India and Sweden just on the basis of the stability of government? No. So there should be a rational basis. There should be a criteria on which we can compare. And if you want to ask why compare, because comparison gives us the way to improve, right? If we don't compare, then what is going to happen? We would be living in this cloud that okay, we are doing fine, but there are nations who are doing way better than us and in the less resources. So we need to compare ourselves so that we can tweak our policies accordingly, right? So this is also an interesting part in comparative politics. So here we talk about nature, approaches, then state in comparative perspective, then politics of representation and participation. These are topics. Then the second part is theories and concepts in international relations. So when we talk about international relations, there are many concepts which are used. For example, balance of power, deterrence, what is superpower, what is great power, what is soft power, what is hard power. So these are some concepts, and there are some theories associated with these concepts, right? And interesting thing is, this broad topic approaches to study international relations, and within this, we also talk about ideologies. Idealist view of international relations means, according to idealist, how should be the international politics? How should be the international politics according to realist? So don't you think, since we have already covered Machiavelli in paper 1 section A, who is regarded as the most realist thinker of the on the juncture of ancient and modern time, so don't you think we have already built our base in paper 1 section A? Then it is going to help us in this part. Yes, this part is going to be cakewalk. Marxist perspective. We have already covered Karl Marx, we have already covered Marxism in political ideology, and then again, we are having Marxist perspective on international relations, right? Now, functionalist and system theory, we are going to talk about them. So these are part of this. Now, key concepts and then changing international political order. So this is the syllabus. Then global institutions and groups, I've told you that in prelims as well as mains, this part is going to help you. For example, ASEAN, APEC, SAARC, NAFTA, United Nations, some important reports. For example, you have essays on democracy, human rights, environment, gender justice, terrorism, nuclear proliferation. You are going to have this treasure in political science option. Then paper 2 section B, India and the world. India's foreign policy, how foreign policy is made, what is foreign policy, what are the determinants of foreign policy, India's relation with South Asia, it means India's relation with Sri Lanka, India's relation with Pakistan, India's relation with Myanmar, India's relation with Bhutan, Nepal. We talk about these aspects. Okay, so this is your paper 2 section B, and here your syllabus completes. Okay, so what I have discussed with the syllabus is a strategy part, or some content interlinking part. Okay, now coming to the some data which we have received from qualified aspirants of 2019. So those who are officers under trainee, this is the ratio. Out of the total selected who are undergoing training, 95 aspirants are from political science and international relations optional, then 84 from sociology, then 72 from geography. Okay, so these are the data. Although I teach political science optional and this is my domain, but I always say that your decision should not be based on okay, maximum number of students who are getting selected are coming from political science optional and students are getting more than 300 marks. What matters is you having orientation for the optional or not. This is what is required. And Edukemy is providing a platform for coaching. And when I say coaching, coaching is a word which is used so lightly. Actually, coaching is not just about telling you what is the content in a particular topic. No, coach itself is a very important position. Coaching and coach means who is guiding you at every step, who is picking you up when you are going down, who is getting strict with you when it is needed, and giving you objective points where you need to improve, right? So that you are getting the required expertise in this domain and you finally clearing this exam. So this is about political science optional, giving you a quick review what we have achieved in this session. So first of all, you got to know that political science syllabus coincides well with GS. For example, what is the added advantage? Added advantage is that you are going to save your precious time, right? Because many of the topics are overlapping. Then interesting subject, concepts embedded in stories, right? Every concept is embedded in a story. Give you added advantage in opening your analytical part, and giving you adequate coverage in current affairs. Then no need of background in this subject because it is slightly non-technical subject. You got this point that it is not your goal to become Karl Marx. Your goal is to stand with the Prime Minister and have this pick, right? Aids you in UPSC interview preparation as well as your essay. Then you have the basic idea what the syllabus is, how it is divided, and how it is interlinked and overlapping with each other. Okay. And then you got the ratio of selected students which are under training as of now, right? So thanks. I hope this session helps you. And if you have any query, you can shoot a comment. And the whole Edukemy team is here to help you out. See you in the next session. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Shashank Tyagi signing off.